When Eilat Mazar realized she had discovered an ancient structure near Jerusalem, she turned to the Bible to help explain what she had found. She learned that this new discovery supports the biblical accounts of King David and his son Solomon. For decades, scholars have argued that the tomb of King Solomon, containing a portion of his enormous wealth, did not exist because nobody who claimed to know the location of the tomb had been able to find it. King Solomon is an intriguing figure because the Bible makes so many claims about him controlling vast amounts of territory. However, that was until a team of Israeli archaeologists from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, in a random but interesting turn of events, set out to find the lost temple of King David but surprisingly stumbled upon the last resting place of his son, King Solomon. It is interesting to note that the location and content of this tomb may have just proven that everything we knew about it was false. Join us as we uncover the mystery of King Solomon's tomb that was finally opened after 3,000 years. A team of scientists and archaeologists led by Eilat Mazar from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem discovered the location of Solomon's tomb in the city of David. Before this, in 1986, Dr. Mazar made a significant archaeological discovery, which she initially dated to the 9th century BCE. This discovery was a monumental gatehouse located about 150 meters north of the city of David in the Ophel area. At the time, Mazar did not have enough evidence to attribute the gatehouse to King Solomon and refrained from making such claims. In 2009, Mazar resumed her excavations at the Ophel site. With more findings and a better understanding of the structure, she re-examined the dating of the gatehouse. Based on the new evidence, she concluded that the gatehouse likely dated to the 10th century BCE, during the time of King Solomon. Why should we believe this archaeological discovery by Mazar? Dr. Mazar was a brilliant scientist who placed tremendous importance on the scientific method. As an archaeologist, one of her favorite mottos was, "We must let the stones speak." The late Herschel Shanks emphasized Dr. Mazar's qualifications in a 2007 Biblical Archaeology Review article, stating, "Nobody would question her professional competence as an archaeologist." Dr. Mazar is often regarded as a biblical scientist. She had no trouble incorporating the Bible into her science, in contrast to the majority of scientists today who often view science and religion as opposing fields. Mazar's expertise was a major contributor to this significant discovery. What makes this discovery even more astonishing is that Mazar and her team were not specifically searching for Solomon's tomb. Instead, they were looking for something even larger. While excavating the oldest part of Jerusalem and aiming to find King David's palace, they uncovered a large wall segment approximately 210 feet long. This segment included a gatehouse, a corner tower, and a royal structure. The archaeologists were stunned by the wall size, suspecting it might be part of an even grander building, such as a temple or palace. Radiocarbon dating indicated that the site was from the period when King Solomon ruled. Mazar noted that this was the first time they had found a structure from that era that could correspond to the descriptions of King Solomon's buildings in Jerusalem. Could this have been built by another king and not Solomon? Mazar explained that there were not many kings from the 10th century BCE who could have built such a structure, essentially, just David and Solomon. According to the Bible, King David, known for his battle with Goliath, was the father of King Solomon and is credited with constructing the first temple of Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. Ceramics discovered near the wall helped date the structure to the second half of the 10th century BCE, which was the era of King Solomon. Near the gatehouse, 3-foot-tall earthenware storage vessels were found, one of which bore a Hebrew inscription indicating it belonged to a high-ranking government official. Other finds included figurines typical of 10th century BCE Jerusalem, such as four-legged animals and large-breasted women likely symbolizing fertility. Additionally, jar handles with impressions reading to the king and various Hebrew names were uncovered. The discovery of King Solomon's tomb has immense historical and archaeological significance. The Ophel area, one of the oldest parts of Jerusalem, is believed to be where King David's palace once stood. This breakthrough supports the biblical portrayal of Solomon as a powerful monarch ruling a substantial kingdom, contrary to the minimalist view that he was an insignificant tribal leader. Situated south of the modern-day Old City, the City of David is an archaeological site considered the original core of ancient Jerusalem during the Bronze and Iron Ages. Significant discoveries there include the Siloam Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel, which brought water into the city, exemplifying the advanced engineering skills of ancient Jerusalem's inhabitants. Despite these discoveries, previous archaeologists struggled to locate royal tombs belonging to Solomon or his successors due to various challenges, such as the expansive nature of the site and Jerusalem's tumultuous history. Before Mazar's discovery, many theories existed about the location of Solomon's tomb, including beliefs that it might lie beneath the Temple Mount. However, the site remains largely unexplored due to religious and political sensitivities, leaving these theories unproven. Despite this, Mazar's findings in the city of David have reshaped our understanding of Jerusalem's ancient history and its connection to biblical traditions. Ancient texts and stories suggest that kings, including Solomon, might have been buried close to the sacred site, adding to the mystery and theories surrounding the location of Solomon's tomb. One reason for believing Solomon's tomb could be near the Temple Mount is its connection to the First Temple, also known as Solomon's Temple, which was built by King Solomon and was a crucial place of worship for the Israelites. Given the temple's importance, it makes sense that Solomon's burial place might be nearby. However, there are even more theories. Some historic texts hint at hidden chambers and secret passages beneath the Temple Mount, suggesting rooms or tunnels where significant items, possibly including the tombs of kings, were hidden. Without the ability to explore these areas, it is difficult to confirm these stories. Limited archaeological investigations around the Temple Mount have not uncovered definitive evidence of Solomon's tomb. These investigations are often conducted carefully to avoid altering the site. While many interesting artifacts and structures have been found, the mystery of Solomon's tomb remains unsolved. If Solomon's tomb is indeed at the Temple Mount, as some theorists speculate, it would be a significant discovery, not only for archaeologists but also for everyone interested in history and religion. However, this isn't the only theory about the location of Solomon's tomb. One significant location is Zedekiah's Cave, also known as Solomon's Quarries, a 5-acre underground limestone quarry under the Muslim quarter of the Old City of Jerusalem. Spanning 5 city blocks and carved over thousands of years, it is believed to have provided the stone for King Solomon's first temple and is the largest quarry in Jerusalem. The strong, erosion-resistant Melik limestone was well suited for royal buildings. The cave has a rich history, with legends of King Zedekiah hiding there from Babylonian soldiers and associations with the Freemasons, although these are mostly speculative. The cave is now open to the public with guided tours, though some areas remain closed for safety or ongoing excavation. Another speculated site is Zedekiah's Cave, with its labyrinthine passages and mysterious air, which make it a compelling candidate for housing the long-lost burial site. Besides Zedekiah's Cave, archaeologists have considered Hezekiah's Tunnel, part of Jerusalem's ancient water system, as another potential hiding place for Solomon's tomb. This tunnel, dug during King Hezekiah's reign to prepare for an Assyrian attack, connects the Gihon Spring with the Pool of Siloam. It passes under the city, exposing sections of the western wall and featuring historical sites like Warren's Gate. Other proposed locations for Solomon's tomb include Mount Zion, traditionally associated with the city of David. However, this theory is based on a misconception. King David's actual burial site is in the southeastern area of Jerusalem's Old City, known as the City of David. French archaeologist Raymond Wille's early 20th century excavations in this area uncovered structures he believed to be royal tombs. While Mount Zion is traditionally associated with King David's burial, it is now believed that David was buried in the City of David, south of the Temple Mount. Consequently, the notion of Solomon's tomb being on Mount Zion is widely regarded as inaccurate. Archaeologists and scientists aren't the only ones who have proposed theories about the location of Solomon's tomb. Before its recent discovery, some scholars suggested Mount Zion, a hill in Jerusalem traditionally associated with the city of David, as a potential site for the royal tombs of the Davidic dynasty, including Solomon. However, this theory is based on a misconception. The widely held belief that King David is buried on Mount Zion is inaccurate. In reality, King David was buried in the southeastern area of Jerusalem's real Old City, south of the Temple Mount, in an area known today as Ir David, the City of David. According to 1 Kings 2 verse 10, the Bible states that King David died and was buried in the City of David. It further states that David ruled over Israel for 40 years, ruling over Hebron for 7 years and Jerusalem for 33 years. After that, Solomon ascended to his father David's throne and established his rule. Despite this, Zion appears in the Tanakh as a reference to ancient Jerusalem. During the Middle Ages, Byzantine pilgrims mistakenly identified the hill south of today's Old City's Armenian Quarter as part of ancient Jerusalem and named it Mount Zion. The city captured by David was actually on a lower hill to the south of the Temple Mount. This lower hill was the site of the Jebusite city, which became King David's capital and constituted the whole of Jerusalem for over 200 years until it gradually expanded westward to include the area known today as Mount Zion. The erroneous notion that King David is buried on Mount Zion persisted for centuries. During the 2nd century CE, Jerusalem was razed, Jews were banished, and the knowledge of King David's tomb's actual location was lost. The first clue to the royal burial site's location comes from the Bible, which states that King David, his son King Solomon, and the kings of Judah who followed for the next 150 years were buried in Ir David. This likely refers to a subsection of the modern-day area known as the City of David. In 1913, French archaeologist Raymond Wall excavated what he believed to be tombs in Jerusalem's City of David, possibly the royal necropolis of the earliest Old Testament kings. Some scholars have since disputed this claim, but archaeologist Jeff Zorn's examination of the evidence suggests Wall might have been correct. While King David's tomb has been mistakenly identified with a location on Jerusalem's Mount Zion since the time of the Jewish historian Josephus in the 1st century CE, earlier biblical references indicate that David and many other Old Testament kings were buried near the southern end of the City of David in ancient Jerusalem. But where exactly? Jeff Zorn believes we may already have the answer. He suggests 2 quarried-out tunnels in the City of David may have once held the remains of the earliest Old Testament kings of ancient Jerusalem. 19th-century diplomat and explorer Charles Claremont Gano thought the winding path of Hezekiah's tunnel provided a significant clue. He proposed that the tunnel's semicircular path towards its southern end was dug to avoid disturbing the burial grounds of the ancient Jerusalem kings that lay above. While directed excavations on Baron Rothschild's City of David property in 1913 to 1914 and again in 1923 to 1924. Although the area was significantly disturbed by later quarrying, Wall discovered ancient walls, ritual pools, cisterns, a circular tower now thought to be a columbarium, and most remarkably, 9 rock-cut features that he identified as tombs. Wall interpreted the 3 most prominent tombs, labeled T1 T3, as part of the royal necropolis of the Old Testament kings of ancient Jerusalem. After hearing these many theories, some believe Solomon's tomb was intentionally hidden to protect it from looters and invaders, a common practice for royal burials in ancient times. There are theories that Solomon's tomb could be in a less obvious location, possibly outside the traditional City of David area, due to political or religious reasons during later periods of turmoil. For instance, the Seal of Solomon, also known as the Ring of Solomon, is a legendary signet ring attributed to King Solomon in medieval mystical traditions. It is often depicted as a pentagram or hexagram and is said to have given Solomon the power to command supernatural entities and speak with animals. The earliest references to Solomon's seal come from Jewish traditions, first mentioned by the 1st century Jewish historian Josephus. It is also referenced in the 3rd century Jewish magical text Sefer Harazim and an Agadic section of the tractate Gittin within the Babylonian Talmud. However, the tomb of the kings in Jerusalem is finally open to the public. Medieval Europeans believed the site contained the burials of King David and King Solomon, and although this theory has been disproved, the name remains associated with the site. Originally constructed in the 1st century CE, the tombs were reused for many years afterward. The site was first excavated in 1863 by French archaeologist Louis Félicien de Sulcy, who aimed to confirm that the tombs belonged to David and Solomon. This excavation, considered by some to be the first modern archaeological dig in Jerusalem, unearthed several coffins. One of these coffins, now in the Louvre Museum in Paris, was inscribed with 2 lines of Aramaic reading, Saddan the Queen and Tzada the Queen. But is there more evidence than these theories and speculations? Let us find out. Apart from theories and speculations, some artifacts found in the City of David suggest the location of Solomon's tomb. Items such as bullion seals bearing names from the biblical period have been found in the City of David, dating back to the time Solomon was alive, providing clues to the probable location of his tomb. A bulla is an inscribed clay or soft metal token used in commercial and legal documentation for authentication and tamper-proofing. From 8000 to 7500 BCE, Sumerian agriculturalists used small clay tokens to record their animals and goods. Over time, marking tokens on clay tablets became more practical, leading to the development of cuneiform writing around 3100 BCE. The earliest known tokens come from the Zagros region of Iran, with the term bulla later applied to seals made of metal. Although most bullae were made of lead, some were crafted from gold, as seen in those issued by Byzantine emperors, Holy Roman emperors, and various monarchs in the Middle Ages. 6 official clay seals found by an archaeological team at a small site in Israel provide evidence supporting the existence of biblical kings David and Solomon. Many modern scholars have dismissed David and Solomon as mythological figures, believing no kingdom could have existed in the region at the time the Bible describes their activities. However, these new finds indicate that some form of government activity occurred in that period, highlighting the administrative importance of the area during Solomon's time. The discovery of King Solomon's tomb, if ever confirmed, would be a monumental achievement in archaeology and biblical history. Some people believe that technologies like ground-penetrating radar and other non-invasive methods might help explore hidden chambers without disturbing the site. The search continues, driven by a blend of historical intrigue, religious significance, and the timeless allure of uncovering the secrets of the past. What are your thoughts on Dr. Maz's discovery? Do you believe the tomb of King Solomon has been found? Share your thoughts and join the conversation. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating discoveries.